Hi all, I've got a little project I'm working on at the moment. It's a little bit cold out in the train room at the moment, so I'm trying to do things that are inside and just doing some of the smaller modelling jobs, I suppose you'd say. I've got this building which is actually part of a station building. It's ages old. I think I got it when I was, I think a friend gave it to me when I was about 7 or 8 years old, which is, as you can see with the paint job on it, a little bit rough. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to repurpose it. Now what it was, I can't show you because I don't have the other pieces here, but basically it's a big station building and there's another station building that sort of clicks into the side here and one that clicks into the side there, and then they have their roofs on. That roof goes over, and as you can see the notch out of the roof there covers the other roof over that side. I don't want to use it as that. I want to use this as a standalone building, just as an extra building. I just sort of thought, well, there's no point throwing it out or not using it. It's actually quite a nice building. So I thought I will try to paint it up and get it looking good. I've got supplies that I had on hand. I haven't gone out and bought anything. I thought I'm going to give it a shot with what I've got. I've got some Payne's Grey Silver paint. This is all acrylic paint. I've got some white paint, as it says Chinese white paint. I have some the other way, black paint, and I've got some of this yellow ochre paint. Actually, I have no plans for this yellow ochre paint, but I thought I'll take it anyway because I might be able to mix it with something to make a slightly different colour or whatever the case may be. I also have my weathering, Tamiya weathering master weatherers and weathering powders. So that's going to be used at the end, obviously. I've also got this permanent marker because I had an idea that I may be able to highlight some parts with a marker or weather some parts with a marker. I don't know. I've just got what I had on hand at the time to see what I can come up with. So I'll get to work and we'll see how this turns out. Okay, guys, the first rough stage has been done. The rough paint over that extremely bright red colour. You can see I've hit the doors with it as well, and some of the windows, but I'm not too concerned about that because I'll go over those later. But this was just a rough. I just wanted to give a one coat over that red colour before I put the second coat on. So when I put the second coat on, obviously it'll go on a lot smoother. I just also want to point out this, point to it here, this area here. I had the canopy on, so I've managed to. Thankfully, because this is so old, the glue's very, very brittle. In fact, it breaks off almost like shards of glass. So I didn't need the canopy on there. My plans are that I'll have to use some modelling techniques to hide certain things on this. One of them is all this glue, this excess glue here, which looks awful. I'll use some signage or some ivy, some sort of foliage going up the side, much like I will with this side here. You can see there's no bricks on this side here. This was the bit where the other building sort of linked up to it. I'll use some ivy up there to break that up a little bit, take the focus away from the fact there's no bricks. Actually, there's no bricks on this side either. It's actually the rear of this, originally being a station building. It's actually got a base for it as well, which I don't have here. It's actually the bricks are on this side of the building here. So they're only on the one side anyway. But I'll still do that just to break up. It's fairly plain and fairly flat. You'll also see here we've got the gap here where the roof is to go. I'm going to use some ivy and things like that to cover up the fact there's no roof in that section there. What I'm going to do with the roof, I'm not 100% sure yet. I used an acrylic paint on that probably 15 years ago now, and it's all coming off. I've scraped it off actually, a lot of it. I'll probably give it a rough going over. I don't mind having the raised areas. It's good weathering, I think, for the roof anyway. And then I'll paint the chimney stacks, no doubt. The chimneys rather. So I'll when that dries, I'll get on to the next stage and see if I can get this looking half decent as a standalone model for a building. Okay, I'm in full swing here with my messy workstation all set up. I've sort of completed the second stage of resurrecting what probably could only be described as a dog's breakfast of a model that I'd previously painted. Although, having said that, to be fair on myself, as I said in earlier, I was probably only about 7 or 8 when I painted it. It's proved a little bit difficult because the paint that I put on so thick last time has created some bumps and waves, depending on what light you look at it in. But I can't do anything about that, and it's once I weather it up and put some ivy and some signs and all that sort of thing, it'll hide imperfections as much as possible. What I've done here is as you can see, I've highlighted the corner brickwork and other details in the. It actually looks black on film, but it's actually the Payne's grey, neat Payne's grey, as it were, just the colour itself. You can see I've mixed up the grey there, the Payne's grey with the white, and that's what where I got the lighter grey from. And then I put the Payne's grey on as highlights around the windows and whatnot. I painted the 2 doors white. I was going to do the windows, and I did start in some spots where it was a bit messy. I gave that a miss because it was fraught with danger. To be perfectly honest, I used that much glue when I put this thing together. Yeah, I've used it like it was going out of fashion, basically, and old paint and everything like that that's caked up on top of it. The windows are never going to look 100%, so I'm hoping that other weathering and other details will actually take away from that. And the reality is, I know when you're looking at the layout, this is probably going to be a distance type object anyway. Sometimes when I'm doing filming and things like that, I might have it a little bit more closer up. But I think once I have the other weathering on, I think it will pass. I've also started painting the chimneys as well. Interestingly enough, I realised I didn't actually glue these into place in the roof originally. When I made it, I just clicked them in, as is the case with the 2 that are in there. Not sure why I didn't do that. The only thing I can come up with is that I used all the glue on the windows. Didn't have any glue left. Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, that's using a lot of glue right there, ladies and gentlemen. So anyway, pop them out, and I'm in the process of painting those like that, and then I'll decide what I'm doing with the roof. Now that I can pull these chimneys out, I may actually just use my brown spray paint and zip over the roof a few times and just make it look half decent that way, and then I might go along with the ridge tiles, ridge capping, and highlight that somehow as well. But I'll see how I go there. I haven't used any weathering powders as yet. I've just purely been painting. This is what this part of it's been all about. Also, now you may not be able to pick this up too well, actually on camera. You can see that's a different colour to the yellow, and that's because I used this permanent marker, which is a brown, which actually on film looks kind of red. In actual fact, I've started using this brown marker just to highlight some tracks as a rust type look along the tracks. I think it's an inexpensive way of doing it. I think it was just $4 or something, and it seems to look quite well. Anyway, I'll show you that at a later update. But what I've done is all the roof detailing along here, I've highlighted that with the permanent marker and right the way along, just to give it a brownie type effect. Very, very difficult to see in this light and on video. Probably more so under the fluorescent lights in the train room, you'll be able to pick up on that. So you really won't see that anyway. I mean, when the roof is on, like such, kind of. Yeah, you get the idea. You know, you can't really see those anyway there. So, but look, I think it's going to look okay. I think once we get some ivy and some signs and some detailing, it'll come up well, and that's probably the next stage. So I'll keep cracking on with it. And here it is. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be on the layout yet, but I know that I wanted to make it look like it had been there for a long time. And also I wanted plenty of ivy and green foliage up and down the side walls because they're the ones that aren't bricked. I've got obviously the ivy back there. As you saw in the video, I've weathered some of the brick and only very lightly weathered the black brick detailing. But as you can see, that the foliage sort of breaks up some of the imperfections in the actual model itself from when I originally painted it. And I've got little sort of planter boxes type set up out the front of these windows here, which I think just create a little bit of colour against the grey. The grey I sort of just slightly dulled down. The bulk of the grey, I should say, I slightly dulled down, as you saw in the video, with some brown and some white, and even a little bit of black of those weathering powders. So it may be a private residence. The other thing that I'm thinking is it could be like a B&B type setup. There's the roof to go on. I haven't put the other chimneys on yet. I've just got to finish those off. The reason that I haven't finished the roof off yet is I'm probably a few days away from actually being able to do that because I don't actually know what colour I want it to be. When I know where I'm going to be placing it on the layout is when I'm going to be deciding exactly what I'm doing with the roof, whether I'm making it look terribly weathered or slightly weathered, all the rest of it. At which point, when I do install it, I will be covering these gaps with, again, some more ivy, as I mentioned previously. As I'm not doing that for a little while, I thought I'd cap off this particular video and show you what it looks like so far. And when I eventually get it on the layout with its little scene, I will show you that also, no doubt, as part of an overall layout update. So, thanks for watching, everyone, and I will catch up with you all soon. Cheers.